Let me tell you about Given the big experiment of melding their brand of R&B and pop soul with synth pop was a smashing success on their 1980 classic Voices, another almost contender instead of today's topic, Philly boys Daryl Hall and John Oates decided to strike while the creativity was flowing, and while their fourth single from that project was just cracking the #1 spot and still having other singles on the charts, they were already concocting their next classic. Coming together in New York with producer Neil Kerman, they certainly did it by forging forth the sound adorned from Voices and made an equally memorable and still pop-fueled classic filled with bops that gave them even more longevity with an entirely different scene as the years went on. I'm talking about the 1981 classic, their 10th album, Private Eyes. You know, when looking at the catalog of Daryl Hall and John Oates, it's kind of incredible how great these two are at writing a hit song. You know, I almost did Voices for this particular show, but I went with Private Eyes, partially because I had it on vinyl and I wanted to do that sort of opening bit, but also because even this record, their 10th record in their catalog, when respinning it, I didn't realize even how many songs I knew by them were on this project, because I knew Private Eyes and I Can't Go For That, because those are colossal tunes, but I didn't realize that Did It In A Minute is another song that I've heard in my life. Looking for a Good Sign is another song that I've heard. This band's catalog, this duo's catalog, have just transcended their era in a very big way. And this record had also some fun nuggets of trivia of longevity that I wanted to get to as well. This is a really great melding of synth ideals with some vintage 70s rock and some good pop soul tunes. You know, because the synth stuff that's on here, like on I Can't Go For That, or Did It In A Minute, or Head Above Water, or even Your Imagination, there's a lot of synth stuff on here, and while it can easily sound dated because this came out in '81, it works really well when melded with their piano melodies, their guitar lines, their vocal production is so very classic, you know, and I love that about it, because they also have tracks like Mano a Mano, or the closer Some Men, that do a good job at having a little more guitar propulsion. Mano a Mano has some really good, really fun solo work in it, you know, and they also do a good job melding some sax, some good old hearty sax like on I Can't Go For That, or on the great sax solo on Your Imagination. The instrumentation on here across the board is catchy, it's tight, and it's a hell of a fun spin in that regard. But lyrically as well, they do a good job of dipping into serious subject matter, spinning phrases into some positive moments, and just generally having some good literary imagery, or lyrical imagery within the lyrics, while also having some the same infectious hooks that they had done on Voices, and that they've been known for throughout their career up to this point, still crop up on this project. I've been singing the title track for this record pretty much for the last couple of weeks, to the point that I'm pretty sure I'm driving my girlfriend crazy. But the title track, the hook on that, the hook on Looking For A Good Time, I Can't Go For That, is an iconic hook. Did It In A Minute. Like, all the singles on here that are on here slap. But even the deep cuts like Tell Me What You Want, Head Above Water, Your Imagination, all incredible hooks as well. And again, the lyrics themselves outside of the hooks are really good at painting pictures, setting a scene, setting the stage. You know, Private Eyes has a really good way of looking and deconstructing a relationship that's failing in a great way. In the same way of Tell Me What You Want and Your Imagination, or Unguarded Minute, do a good job at sort of not only reflecting out towards your partner, but looking inward and seeing what could be wrong with yourself. I Can't Go For That, while it could be seen as another relationship deconstruction, is actually about the music industry, taking a look at them and wanting them to play the same old hits. But they don't want to do that because they're musical geniuses and they want to pillage forth and do other cool stuff. Looking For A Good Sign, a song that really wants to aim for a lot of positivity when there's moments of frustration and turmoil on this project. There's tracks like that, and Mano a Mano, which Mano a Mano does a good job at spinning that classic phrase, taking it mano a mano, usually kind of a confrontational thing, and spinning it into something peaceful and positive. You know, there's just a lot of good, tight writing on here. And again, when revisiting it after I bought it on vinyl, I wasn't shocked, but I was a little surprised at just how many you know, tracks not only that I knew, but were just so fucking tightly woven together. You know, Daryl Hall and John Oates are a classic duo, and this is just a great piece of their catalog. I really enjoy this project a lot, and I'm a fan of 80s style. You guys already knew that. I've talked about other 80s records on here, but when I'm talking about like just a classic, catchy, soulful record that has some, you know, contemporary at the time fusions as well, you can't go wrong with Private Eyes. You can't go wrong with really any record from these guys. But Private Eyes sits up for me because while revisiting it, I realized just how much of a gem it was. And while it had the same immediate success as Voices, I'm kind of putting it in the same vein as like of State of Euphoria and Awake for Dream Theater, of being a follow-up to a bold experiment. You know, while it paid off in spades for Daryl Hall and John Oates, it's kind of in the same vein. It's more of them sort of just doubling down on a style. And again, it just worked out really well for them for good reason. It's a fucking classic. Tracks from here have such a withstanding legacy. You know, I Can't Go For That Alone, given I just recently talked about hip-hop samples, is another one of those really incredibly sampled hip-hop gems.
It's brought into a world of pits, and if we could have talked that
so many people have sampled I Can't Go For That, or just outright used the hook of it for their own tracks, even as recently as last year.
Doing such a good job, I pat myself on the back. Flight confirmation and catch through the air.
You know, it's a song that in the hip-hop community has had such a huge impact, but on top of that, it's also just been a big influence. Michael Jackson cited this record as an influence for him, and I can even see it being an influence, especially the title track, an influence to some of the more paranoia leaning tracks that coded the 80s, you know, stuff like Somebody's Watching Me. You know, tracks like that have that same sort of paranoia loomed sheen that coats some of the more melancholic lyrical threads on here, but these guys spin it into such a positive light. These boys from Philly, they know what the fuck they're doing, alright? And I love Daryl Hall and John Oates. I just wanted to kind of gush about them a little bit on here. Like I said, I've been spinning this a lot. It's stuck in my head, and I'm hoping after talking about it, it'll kind of get it out there and kind of encourage you to visit a classic like Daryl, like Private Eyes or Voices as well. Two good back-to-back punches from these guys. Lots of bops, lots of songs you may not even know you knew on these projects. But yeah, what do you think of Private Eyes? What do you think of Daryl Hall and John Oates? Yes, I'm calling them that because that's what they like to be called. I always thought it was Hall and Oates, but then as I got older, got into them. It's Daryl Hall and John Oates. Remember the fucking name. Do you like this record? Do you like the tracks on here? Let me know in those comments down below. If you like this particular video, be sure to give it a like. If you want to see more of my music, gaming, and general nerd content, be sure to subscribe. Special thanks to my patrons. If you want to join their ranks to get early access to content, exclusive content, or to help drive the community, it's linked in the description. I'm going to get out of here. Thank you so much for watching. I've been Valrack. You guys have good days, lives, and situations, and I'll see you another day.